as evidence, girl. Like, why? And that is this level. Blake Lively had shared a tweet about somebody saying, "Why don't you make your own fucking movie? You can't because you're not talented. Why would you own gold? Why are you doing that? You are your own smear campaign. You are the smear. You are literally a shit stain smearing out everywhere you go. Everything you say, everything you touch, everything you do, everything you work on is smeared with the shit campaign of your terrible personality, your evilness. And that's the smear. You can't get it off because it's you. Allegedly, speculation only in my opinion. We would you're twisting these innocent accidents into abuse to make an excuse so you can leave him to go be with the guy that you from high school that you're still hung up on.
Crazy. As I'm editing this, I heard myself saying that about the movie. The way she edited the movie came across to me as a lying, two-faced cheater who's hung up on her high school boyfriend, and she's looking for every excuse to leave her man. So every innocuous, innocent accident, she then later twists it as if it was an abuse situation so she can get out of her marriage. And I just wanted to say, isn't that ironic? Isn't it ironic?
Oh my god, I only just realized the Alanis Morissette Ryan Reynolds connection. L-O fucking L.
Should think, because I think that what Blake Lively did in real life was take every innocent, innocuous comment or every moment of Justin Baldoni acting as an actor playing the character of Ryle in the movie, and Blake Lively was acting as Blake Lively, not as Blake Lively acting as the character Lily. She was acting as Blake Lively, who was acting as if she were the fucking director. So, and then every little innocuous, innocent, or totally legitimate situation that was happening, she then twisted it and lied about what was happening, lied about the intentions, lied about what was, the actual meaning, so that she could get what she wanted. So she painted Justin and Heath as these bad guys to cover up the fact that she's actually manipulating and literally stealing somebody's movie. She's stealing somebody's movie, and she's taking these completely innocent, harmless, no foul situations, and she's twisting it into some kind of sick bitch version. She's putting it through the sieve, the filter of her fucking mean girl, bitch, motherfucking, I'm a fucking evil cunt rag as a personality. I've got no personality. My personality is built upon snark, saying utterly inappropriate, rude things, being a talentless nepo baby, conceited, yet wholly untalented, spoiled brat. You were only hired because you're fucking white, privileged, rich. You only got those roles because your parents bought it for you, just like you claim that the parents of other students were spreading lies that your parents bought your way in. But honey, motherfucker, now we know it's true. It was always true. It was true then, it's true now. Anyway, this video is me reading the scenario planning document that I think in every single way proves Justin Baldoni's innocence and Blake Lively's guilt. And then I talk about the movie a bit. I talk about my experience as a florist and how off the movie was. And I talk about a few things. I talk about Colleen Hoover and I read the document, and I think it's an interesting video, so stick around and enjoy it, and don't forget to hit like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell notification. Back to the video.
I believe this is the crux of everything right here.
Background briefing would clarify any misconceptions, what was taken out of context, and what can be chalked up to simple misunderstanding or miscommunication.
But let's be honest, these were not misconceptions or misunderstandings. This was intentional torts.
God love dreamingpeach.com.
So I'm popping in. It's Saturday, February 22nd. It's 1:33. I've been procrastinating all day about getting this video finished. But earlier I was watching Sashti Flossom, and she did another interesting video. She talked about how Jenny Slate apparently had, I think I talk about this somewhere in this video. Jenny Slate had complained that she didn't like her apartment that she rented to do the filming of It Ends With Us in New York. Her security deposit was $15,000, which means that the apartment was probably like $5,000 a month or more. So it was an expensive apartment. But anyway, so she had this conversation with Jamie Heath, where Jamie Heath had said something about the sanctity of motherhood. How dare he? And then he offered to cover the expenses of the security deposit so she could move elsewhere because of the sanctity of motherhood, and she had a toddler. The nerve, how disgusting that he would offer to pay for her to find a new apartment so she could take care of her kid, which apparently was the whole reason why she was unhappy with the space, supposedly. And then Jenny Slate complains to Sony that he made her uncomfortable because he said the sanctity of motherhood. So anyway, in that video, there were comments which were very interesting, and I thought some of them were interesting. I pulled them up. Oh, I totally didn't know this. Somebody had said that it was racism, and I was like, what's that mean? I didn't know until just now because I'd never seen a photo of Jamie Heath. He's a black man, so that puts things in a slightly different perspective. Okay. For me personally, it gives me a lot more respect for Justin Baldoni, and it also puts additional context between it puts additional context in the idea of wanting to have inclusion as a part of what they do. Interesting. Also, I had felt that it was possible Colleen was racist, which is why she thought that Justin looked like the abuser character.
Justin is Italian and Ashkenazi Jewish descent, but a little darker coloring than Brendan.
And that the white, blue-eyed Brendan Sklenar looked like the savior. That never went over my head. We know Blake is a racist pig, and I already questioned whether or not Taylor Swift is racist. And now finding out that Jenny Slate complained to HR that Jamie Heath made her uncomfortable because he said he would reimburse her for the security deposit so she can get another apartment, because it made her uncomfortable that he talked about the sanctity of motherhood.
Here's the definition of sanctity: the state or quality of being holy, sacred, or saintly.
Well, isn't that offensive?
Sanctity.
So back to the comments. I thought it was funny. This one was hilarious to me. Rainy Day Sprite said, does she have the same diagnosis as Blake? Paranoid perception of normal behavior as paranoid perception of normal behavior as perverse interest. They seem like mean girls, that view. And then that one got Oh, and I can see the bottom. They seem like mean girls that view kindness as weakness. It's really sad and also disturbing. And this person had said it's racism just because this kindness. And then I think that's where it got cut off. But I was like, what's racism? Because I didn't know. I had never seen Jamie Heath. I thought these were interesting. Sandra says, I don't even have children, but for $15,000, I would hear a full day lecture about how to be a good mother with slides and everything. Heck, I will make the presentation myself, crying, laughing face. Just give me the money. Like, exactly. You got $15,000 because you didn't like the apartment that you picked. Maybe you picked it from LA and you didn't see it until you got there. So, okay. But he was like literally willing to give you the money back. I think, and then, Mary Jo says, I think Blake love bombed these cast members and convinced them that Justin and Wayfarer were terrible. When that happens, you see everything that is said to you through that lens. That's a very good point. Then this was very interesting. French AITA says, LOL, not even Colleen Hoover's name, based on global best-selling phenomenon. Then this one. Someone also mentioned, this was from Mexico. Someone also mentioned that Netflix posters of Gossip Girl went from the ensemble cast to just a picture of Blake. To just a picture of Blake from the ensemble cast. And they say it happened around the time her production company signed a deal with Netflix. So, and then this person says, shame on Sony for allowing that. I don't know what they mean exactly, but, I guess maybe pushback. I don't know. But so I thought, well, is it true? Because in some part of this video, I do pop up a photo. I can grab it. This, which I screenshotted when I did a Google search because I was looking for screenshots of the things that were mentioned. And here you can see it's an ensemble cast. I did think it was interesting how she's kind of splayed out at the bottom, which does appear to make her look more important in some way. But this is the poster that you find when you Google it. But if you go to Netflix, look at what the fuck you see. This is literally the Netflix poster. This is the thumbnail for Gossip Girl on Netflix. So whoever left that comment, Mexico, you are correct. Indeed, Gossip Girl thumbnail on Netflix is just this motherfucking bitch's face. Just this bitch, despite the fact that all these other people are just as important in the show. Like, wow. Unbelievable. Just to give credit to Sashti Fla, Kajarski Fla. Also here she's showing the difference of Justin's poster with the names on top and the poster Blake wanted with just her name.
That ended up being the poster they went with. Just her face, just her name.
Please go follow Flossom. She's awesome. She's Norwegian and she's amazing. And her name looks like Kajersti, but it's Sashti. She puts out videos about lots of stuff, but lately, well, I thought that was some hot tea. This is not hot enough for my son. He's like, this is not spicy, Mom. I got to get some better spicy for my spicy loving son. But yes, so I'm going to get back to the rest of the video where I read the scenario planning document, which I believe is only further proof of Justin's innocence, of Jamie Heath's innocence, and I find it just so disgusting how Colleen Hoover and Blake Lively swooped in and took over, and I don't know if Ryan Reynolds is a lead narcissist or if he's a flying monkey for Blake or if they're both narcissists who are also flying monkeys for each other. Jenny Slate is obviously a flying monkey. In case you're not familiar with the term, a flying monkey is used in psychology to describe someone who enables a narcissist or someone with a narcissistic personality disorder. Flying monkeys are people who knowingly participate in narcissistic abuse. They side with the narcissist no matter what. They spread rumors or gossip about the person the narcissist is targeting. They manipulate or gaslight the target. They dismiss the target's feelings. They share information about the target with the narcissist to help the narcissist harass the target. So, wait, let's see, I haven't heard this. A technique that a victim of narcissistic abuse can use is gray rocking. This involves appearing dull and non-responsive to the narcissist's provocations. Flying monkeys are individuals who are manipulated or influenced by the narcissist to further their agenda and maintain control over their victims. And basically, the flying monkey, the bully's little sidekick, the mean girl's little, shadows that flank her, those characters are there because they believe that they will benefit from the narcissist's power, money, privilege. So they hook themselves to the narcissist, to the abuser, and then they run around doing the abuser's bidding. They run around trying to create, HR complaints that are false. They run around trying to spread rumors and lies and smear the victim, the target, because they believe it's going to benefit them. And, sometimes it's somebody who seems like Brendan Sklenar, who I don't perceive Brendan as especially vicious the way Jenny Slate easily comes across as. Brendan seems in general kind of dull. I find him, I'd give him like a 6 or a 7 in attractiveness. I think he's generally attractive, but I don't know. The most animated I've seen him so far is in the clip where
In the film, laughs when Gail King asks if he is Team Blake or Team Justin, responding instead, "I'm Team, it ends with us."
So Brendan Sklenar was questioned by Gail King if he's Team Blake or Team Justin, and he was like, ha, 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 I'm Team, it ends with us. He did originally come out saying it seemed like he was pro Blake, and then he pulled that down.
He said, "I don't. Are you Team Blake or Team Justin?" He said, "I don't speak English, Gail."
I'm team. It ends with us.
It ends with us star Brandon Sklenar playing Switzerland when it comes to the drama between...
Are you Team Blake or Team Justin? He said, "I don't speak English, Gail."
I'm team. It ends with us.
It ends with us star Brandon Sklenar playing Switzerland when it comes to the drama between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni.
It's unfortunate that things get taken away from what the ethos of that thing is, and it gets convoluted, and I just want to remind people of why that thing is in the first place. It's been a long time. She has a really amazing ability to make people feel really good and comfortable.
Brandon, who played Blake's love interest in the film, now weighing in on the she said he said legal battle between...
I just want people to remember why we made the movie in the first place and what it stands for, and just keeping a focus on that. Like that movie meant so much to me, and I have someone very, very close to me in my life who's gone through what Lily's going through for a long time, and I've been on the front lines helping her navigate that space, so that movie meant a lot to me.
Personally, Jenny Slate is not my cup of tea. I find her voice to be incredibly annoying. Not to bash people's looks, but I just don't find her attractive. I just find her like kind of weaselly. And again, attractiveness has everything to do with your personality, in my opinion. Like I used to think that Amber Turd was beautiful, and then I learned about her personality, and now I think she looks like a demon. Same with Blake Lively, like, not hating on people for getting plastic surgery, but when I saw her original photos, I was like, what the fuck? This ugly ass homely bitch paid surgeon after surgeon after surgeon, or she paid a surgeon 3 times to get 3 nose jobs, to get her lips done. Probably had some kind of things around her face. Like, I don't know. My whole thing is like, beauty truly comes from within. Now, of course, some people are just naturally absolutely gorgeous, and some people are more beautiful than others, and that's just the fucking way it is, okay? And there's pretty privilege, and we know that in this world, but when you are an evil, racist, plantation princess who married your plantation prince on a fucking plantation that actually had a street called Slave Road with houses where they enslaved human beings and forced them into unpaid labor and all the horrific stuff. And you're going to go get married there and then act like you didn't know, and then promote antebellum, and then just, oh, and then when she said she put on blackface and a Spice Girl fro so that these white boys that she was stalking would think she was a black girl.
So she could stalk them.
And then everything that she's said about co-stars, she apparently admitted that she poisoned the whole cast of Gossip Girl against Penn Badgley, who then she later dated for 5 years, who also is Baha'i, which is the religion that Justin is. So I wonder, did that give her some extra sense of vindictiveness against him? Because as far as I also know, she cheated on Penn Badgley with Ryan Reynolds while Ryan Reynolds was cheating on Scarlett Johansson. So is the fact that, you know, and then somebody said if you look at a photo of Penn Badgley with a beard next to Justin Baldoni, they look like twins. Maybe that's her type. So maybe there's a part of her that had like this extra vindictiveness against Justin because he reminded her of her ex that she would never be good enough for. Well, she obviously thinks she's way too good for. And I also think it's interesting that the people, Jenny Slate is so obviously somebody who Blake would be using. And like, Taylor Swift is the kind of girl that Blake Lively wants to be friends with. Rich, blonde, white, blue-eyed, successful, famous. That's who Taylor Swift wants. I mean, that's who Blake Lively wants to be friends with, even though she's using her too. Using her to try to get her way, Then she's going to use somebody like Jenny Slate to love bomb because she can control that person. She's going to use Isabella Ferrar to love bomb. That was so creepy when Isabella Ferrar said that she slept over Blake's house. Like, ew, why? You're grown-ass adults. Why are you having sleepovers? That's super creepy and inappropriate, in my opinion. And the way she loved bomb Colleen Hoover, another obviously wannabe, like, I want to be. She basically love bombed these pick-me types. She's the ultimate pick-me. She's the plantation princess pick-me queen with her plantation prince pick-me king, who's probably gay. And the more I've seen of Ryan, the more I'm convinced that he is a closeted gay man who thought that being snarky, and maybe he's not gay, it doesn't even matter. I don't even fucking care about that. It's just like there's something about you that's so inauthentic. There's something about you that comes across as trying so hard to seem like this nice, straight guy, but you're snarky, and that somehow, like, I remember from like 20 years ago, he was like the frat boy and like the womanizer kind of frat boy, kind of goofball, kind of idiot, kind of loser, all balled up into one. And now it's like, maybe that was cute when you were in your 20s, but you are an old fucking guy. And now you just look like a crusty creep with this much younger plastic surgery snarky bitch queen of a wife. And it's just not working. It's just not working. And there was some quote where apparently Blake was like wondering why, how come Justin Bateman can be a certain way and people get it, but they don't get it about me. And I saw people say, because Justin Bateman is self-depreciative where you insult everybody else.
Hello, my lovely peaches. You can see it's dark outside. You can see the snow out the window and turn that on. Can definitely turn that down a bit. So, hey, my sweet peaches, how are you? So, this is a photo that I took to set the mood. It's cold and it was snowing, and yes, and it's nighttime, and that's what I wanted to show. So it is 10:45 p.m. on Thursday, February 20, 2025. My little bunny light over there. So I'm getting really into the nerdy ofness, and I actually found, thanks to Lauren, I have to find her full name, but she's the one who was reading the amended lawsuit drop the other day. So I started to follow her, and she mentioned court listener. Let me get myself a little smaller. Smaller. You can see this here, court listener. So you can sign up free, and then you can get alerts for cases that you're interested in, which is what I've done. Certain things you can see for free and certain things you can't. Okay, so this is Lively v. Wayfarer Studios, and I have alerts for this. So we can see that Leslie Sloan filed a motion to dismiss today, and she added some stuff. So I went through Blake's amended complaint. You know, I think I'm going to just turn this off. Let myself be in the little corner in the dark because it is very late. It's almost 11 p.m. and you don't really need to see me super bright. And I just wanted, so what I really wanted to talk about in this particular video, so we can see, this was yesterday, order on motion for discovery. I read this yesterday. Judge Louis J. Lyman had said that the lively parties shall not move to enforce the subpoenas while the motion is pending. Also, I am so grateful. Actually, let me turn the light back on and just talk for a minute. I am so grateful that Alita Legal Bites is back. She went off and had a baby. I adore her. She covered Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, and then she was covering the Menendez trial, the first one. She was doing that like Mondays, and then she was covering a bunch of stuff. She's amazing. She's a lawyer. And then she went and had a baby, and she wasn't doing any videos for a while. But I am so super thrilled that she's back. So anyway, moving back on to Blake Lively. Okay, what I really wanted to read, and I copy and pasted it and put it into Natural Readers, which is here, and I listened to it and I screen recorded it, and then I was going to share the audio, that like the AI voice, but I said, you know what? I kind of like to read it. So it's one of these amendments from the amended complaint that just that Blake Lively dropped on February 18th, which like it literally came after 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I was like, what the fuck? Okay. So the one that I really wanted to read was this. The scenario planning. Please hold. I forgot that my bunny light can do colors. The ears are not lighting up that well. I totally forgot about it. Cute. So, I have Exhibit D. And that's what I wanted to read because I thought it was insane So this is apparently scenario planning. It ends with us. How did they get this, though? I don't know. It's confidential. And somehow Blake Lively had this. Okay, so apparently this is the scenario planning that Justin Baldoni planned with the PR team that he hired. And I just want to say, I'm going to read it, but I also wanted to say, I can't fucking believe that this is what she's using as proof that he was trying to smear her, when, if you believe him, which I do, then you believe that actually she was smearing Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath. Blake Lively was turning cast members, Sony, trying to turn the public against him, against Jamie. And this is what they were doing. And as I said yesterday, in yesterday's video, I got the sense that what this was about was actually they were trying to protect themselves. I said, if you were to read this as not as we're trying to destroy Blake, but rather we're trying to save ourselves from the lies that Blake is spreading and from the actions that Blake is taking, which is harming the movie, the project we've been working on all this time. She's harming us with the things that she's doing. If you listened to my video yesterday, when I got to the end, I was saying this could easily be Justin trying to save his reputation from the lies and the smear campaign. This could be Justin trying to save the movie from the fuck ups that Blake was doing. This could be trying to save the movie from the disastrous choices that Blake made. That's what this could be. And I want to read it because I think it's exactly what it is. And it's literally what it says. And she put this in her amended lawsuit as proof against him. So if you're interested, you can listen. Case 124 CV 10049 LJL. Document 84-4 filed February 18th, 2025. This is page 2 of 5. This is Exhibit D. Scenario planning. It ends with us. Objective. Protect the reputation of Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, and Wayfarer Studios in the lead up, during, and following the premiere of It Ends With Us. Underscore the achievement and efforts of the Wayfarer team in bringing this movie to life, and emphasize Justin and the studio's commitment to their team and making the broader industry a more inclusive space. That's beautiful. What do you have against that? Justin wants to protect his reputation and Jamie's reputation because, again, taken from the perspective that they are good men who are doing a good thing and they are being smeared and lied about, don't they have every right to protect their reputations? I think so. They also want to protect the reputation of their studio in the lead up, during, and following the premiere, which Blake stole from them and forced them into the basement with the fucking water supply, pallets of water. Okay, and then they want to bring this movie to life. They want to bring the project they've been working on for all these years to life. As Justin stated in his lawsuit, at the time when she made the statement, what I don't know if it was in writing if you're not okay with my way of doing things, you can replace me. You still have 2 weeks to replace me. But he said we'd already spent significant money. We'd already filmed phase 1. We'd already halfway filmed this. Having to start all over would have lost millions of dollars, many people probably their jobs. He said it would have destroyed his reputation with Sony, within the industry. He knew it would have been a disaster at that point. I feel like he should have said, "You're right. I'm going to find somebody else because this is not working out. This is not the vision that I had for this movie. This is not the way I wanted it to go. And the way you're hijacking the movie and all this stuff you're saying, I cannot work with you. Absolutely not. I'm not going to work with somebody who is going to put me in this position." But I don't think that he really actually fathomed at that point how evil and how no bottom, how evil and bottomless she is, and how low she would go, which is no bottom. There's no low that's too low for an evil hoe like this bitch and her fucking gay ass husband. No offense to gay men.
Editing the video and sewing my sweatshirt. And I just have to pop in and say that I watched a couple of videos today that also made me realize that it's impossible to separate out the fact that Colleen Hoover was a huge Blake Lively fan, and she had stars in her eyes and dollar signs in a fucking bank account. And there was a clip of a video of Colleen Hoover on a panel on a stage saying, well, now before I say what I say, I want to also point out that when I read Colleen Hoover's email to Justin, where she said to him, "What do you think about playing Ryle? I feel like you could do it." My thought was, isn't that kind of weird? Like, she's basically saying, I think you would be good as the abuser. And I just really, that rubbed me the wrong way. Like, really, really, really rubbed me the wrong way. Like, you don't tell somebody you think they'd make a good abuser. You let the person who's going to do that role come and audition, okay? But then he was like, "Oh, I'm honored, okay, thank you." And he took the role because she suggested it. And then she was on fucking stage saying, when Justin approached me and said, and I'm paraphrasing, but she said, when Justin came to me and said he wanted the role of Ryle, I thought, yes, I could see that. And I'm like, wait, but bitch, now you're trying to turn around and say that he wanted the role? Like, trying to say that he
wanted the role, came to her asking for it, not the other way around.
And then she was like, oh, and when I saw Atlas, like, oh, yes, that's Atlas. And I had said, I could easily see
Justin
playing the role of Atlas. Like, why wouldn't he be good at that role? He's literally dedicated his life to being a caring man who cares about gender roles and how that can be toxic, and learning how to be a good man and caring a hell of a lot about women and women's rights and collaborating with women and working with women. And Blake and fucking Colleen fucking Hoover swooped in. She had said in an email to him, when she was considering taking his offer to buy the rights to make a movie, and she said she wanted more control. She wanted, to have a say. And the thing that's so sad is that he absolutely would have worked with her. And I'm sure that his vision for the movie aligned a lot more with her so-called vision until Blake, who she was so fucking fangirling stars in the eyes over, and God knows what Blake and Ryan promised her if they let them have the rights to the next It Starts With Us. And maybe, I don't know, maybe Ryle's not in the next movie because he's out. And she was like, I don't fucking need him. I don't know. The whole thing is insane. It's so insane to me. It's so insane to me that Blake wrote in her amended complaint that he had the nerve to complain about her taking over when they made 350 mil. Like, bitch, God knows you could have probably made double that if she hadn't racked the budget over budget so much, and if the movie had gone the way he wanted it to go. But I just really want to add that I think that Colleen Hoover is really, really complicit in this, and it's really fucking shady. That is so shady to me that she disappeared off Instagram and then she came back and she had her shit scrubbed. It's like, what the fuck, bitch? Like, either speak up and say you were wrong, or speak and say sorry, or speak up and say that you still support Blake. You know, like, like, how are you gonna be so duplicitous and slimy and sleazy? And then, you told Justin that you didn't want the movie turned into some kind of fucking rom-com, which is exactly what you turned around and did with Blake. And apparently she was in the editing booth with Blake. And so, like, what did Blake promise her? And why did they think it was okay to just literally steal from what this man had bought rightfully and had worked on? It's so cringy. Everything is so cringy. Now I'm on Court Listener and I'm getting alerts for every time something drops, and it's like, oh my God, where's my scissor? Leslie Sloan dropped like a bunch of shit, and my God, that fucking, like, that protective order that they want is so outrageous. I cannot wait to hear what the judge has to say. By the way, what I'm doing, I have this cool sweatshirt that I love. I have a pink one. Actually, I have two pink ones because I bought one for my son and he didn't like it, so I took his too. And it's like really heavy. It's not weighted, but like almost like it's heavyweight, but not weighted, if you know what I mean. And anyway, but the hood is like, was double layered. And it was so heavy that it falls back and then it pulls the shirt up like this, and it's so uncomfortable. So I cut one layer out, and now I'm just like quick hemming so that the opening doesn't flap around, but that way it's a lot less heavy. And anyway, back to the rest of the video.
And their studio's commitment to their team and making the broader industry a more inclusive space. That's a pretty good objective starting off, okay? Overview. Okay, so I am gonna go into dark mode because it is late. Save my eyeballs. Overview. Though there are several potential scenarios at play here which we should be prepared for, should Blake Lively and her team make her grievances public via a blatant story or subtle leak. Given she was made to compromise with the premiere, we feel she will move forward with doing so. I take this to mean because they think she's a vindictive person who's already proven that she would keep pushing for control. Because I do want to comment. So, at this point, the 17-point list is out. The 30-point list is out. Justin's been screamed at by Ryan Reynolds. How dare you ask about my wife's weight? All of these things have happened, okay? She's already threatened that she's going to accuse him of sexual harassment if he does not let her have her way. he's being extorted, he's being bribed, like he's being abused, and he's doing everything he can to save himself from this fucking scheming, lying, evil woman and her evil husband. Okay? So they're well aware that though there are several potential scenarios at play here. Maybe she'll come out and blatantly lie and say that, he raped her. Maybe she'll say he SA'd her, he SH'd her. Maybe she'll just, you know, they didn't know what she was going to do at that point because she had made threats, and they said her grievances, which they knew all about, her many, many, many grievances, which were not based on reality, but based on twisted lies. Okay. So again, and via a blatant story, an absolute blatant lie, or a subtle leak. And given that she was made to compromise with the premier, she didn't want him there at all. So they knew that she's a vindictive bitch and she's pissed off and she's going to fucking do something evil because she's been doing it. We feel she will move forward with doing so. Our recommendation is to get ahead of this narrative, owning any misconceptions and addressing them head on. Ultimately, we need to be ready to take the air out of any story that does arise, as well as commentary or background narrative Blake Lively and her team put together without being the louder antagonizer. Okay, so they know it's very likely she's coming down the pipe with these lies, so they want to get ahead of it, owning any misconceptions and addressing them head on. How is that a bad thing? The tag team will continue to media monitor, flag, and respond to any media proactively reaching out, reporting on the issue, and will send regular reports on existing chatter that may arise. Additionally, our team's digital experts will continue to monitor and flag any online content related to the crisis and or mitigate if false narratives begin in the digital space. What does that tell you right there? If false narratives begin. So they're anticipating lies. Do you see his team saying, we need to hide the truth? We need to plant lies. We need to smear Blake. We need to spread terrible stories about her. No, you don't see any of that. You see Justin wanting to protect his own reputation from the lies that she's been telling, and his team, including Jamie and including Wayfarer, his studio, and including the cast and whoever else. Okay, that's what I'm getting out of this. And that they want to monitor what's happening online, report it, flag stuff so they can check it out, and mitigate if any false narratives begin. Because they're lies. I can't do it. It hurts too bad. I'm sorry. I know that I get real blurry. Well, maybe what I'll do to compensate is I'll just make myself smaller. Make myself smaller. Okay, maybe you can actually read it too now. Okay. Crisis mitigation and rapid response. Our team will establish a quote, rapid response communication system which keeps Justin, Jamie, and Wayfarer Studios abreast of new coverage and narrative trends in real time, both in traditional media and social media. I think that she should sue them because they said the word abreast and they must have been talking about her breasts. Alongside Jen Abel and her team, we will manage media inquiries regarding the news on background as familiar or sources familiar. So instead of quoting a specific person, they'll say sources familiar as a way of saying a general quote attributed to somebody, but not really. Working with legal as appropriate, we will provide information to ensure our narrative is properly represented in any and all coverage. So they want to make sure it's legal. That sounds positive. TAG will confirm outlets intending on covering the story, especially those impactful to Justin, Jamie, and Wayfarer's interests, are fully briefed on the situation, including and not limited to the Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Deadline, The Wrap, New York Post, Daily Mail, etc. We will run real-time media monitoring reports with multiple daily updates on any coverage that arises and impacts that the PR teams have had on stories. Remember, keep in mind, this is coming from innocent people, I believe, who are trying to protect themselves from an evil liar who is out to destroy them. Further, we will produce daily sentiment reports which capture the reach and attitude of opinions online related to the issue and towards Justin, Jamie, and Wayfarer. These reports will also qualify the level of impact these stories have and the gradual decrease in interest post-crisis on this narrative. Oh, and did that ever not happen? Did it ever not gradually decrease? In fact, it rapidly increased, didn't it? Here we are, mofos. Let's see. When was this? There's no date. There's no letterhead. There's no to, from. It says confidential in red, yet Blake is not named in this. So how did she get a hold of this document? But how did they get this? Is this? Oh, well, ChatGPT said that they got it in Discovery, but you know ChatGPT be lying all the motherfucking time. So I don't know. Maybe that's how they got it. Like legally obtained. I don't know. We'll see. Preparation materials. Our team will develop clean top-line messaging outlining the facts in conjunction with Jen Abel and her team. Our team and Wayfarer Studios will discern what assets pertaining to communications, schedules, times, when BL called out, etc., that we can share for off-record and or for context purposes with journalists. So wait, what the fuck did that say? Our team will develop clean top-line messaging outlining the facts in conjunction with Jen Abel and her team. Okay, so facts. Our team and Wayfarer Studios will discern what assets pertaining to communications, schedules, times when BL called out, etc., that we can share for off-record and or for context purposes with journalists. I don't know what called out means. So called out meaning she called out of work? I don't know. Our team and Wayfarer Studios alongside Jen Abel and team will catalog third-party advocates willing to provide a potential quote or engage with reporters on Justin and Jamie's behalf to mitigate negative narratives from a source outside of Wayfarer. Our team will collate a list of people who have publicly discussed their positive working experience with Justin. Examples include Brandon Sklenar, I don't think that's how he spells it, Forbes, Colleen Hoover, Entertainment Weekly. How about Isabella Ferrar? How about Gina Rodriguez? Lots of people. There's people coming out now talking about how great he is and was. Key messaging points. Who's coming out for Blake saying how great she was? Oh, Paul Feig said she was great. Chevy Chase took a pic with them. I just noticed that Chevy only tagged Ryan, not Blake, LOL. SNL thinks they're cool. JB's stellar reputation among... Well, actually, I'm interrupting myself. Like I pointed out. Did SNL think they were cool? Because SNL had them I'm getting tired. So just Ryan mocked the situation by saying, what have you heard? I don't know, what have you heard? But then when he went into his little skit, dumb idiot question about can you eat the cone heads? Is it edible? And she said, no, it's toxic. Considering they were made in 1975, I consider they would, be highly toxic. And then he was like, well, if you ate some, and she's like, no, you should leave now. So I was looking at it like, okay, he was conceived close, but not exactly. He would have been conceived in January of 1976. Was she saying he was toxic? He was highly toxic. Like she literally, like you want to play on words and puns and double entendres and double meanings and all that shit. Yeah, they let that motherfucker come there and he made that dumbass joke, but they literally said to him, it's likely he's highly toxic and he should leave now. That's how I'm taking it. Motherfuckers anyway. All right, let's see. JB's stellar reputation among colleagues and industry peers, numerous quotes and interviews sharing positive experiences, which is all true. JB has been a longtime advocate, activist, and advocate of and for women in Hollywood, speaking out about challenges his colleagues faced before the Me Too movement even began. TED 2017. True. The Man Enough podcast has been a source of inspiration since it began, fostering a safe, encouraging environment for a range of perspectives to meet and discuss gender roles and how their rigidity affects everyone. True, despite the fact that Liz Plank actually is a two-faced bitch, while JB and JH, Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath, attempted to foster a kind, safe, creative environment on set during a challenging period in Hollywood. Resurgence of COVID-19, the writer's strike, the SAG-AFTRA strike, their efforts were continuously thrown back in their face. No doubt. Production members lost their jobs due to blatant lying, Blake Lively's takeover, and insisted upon involvement, including loss of budget due to rescheduling shoot days when Blake Lively refused to show up, not to mention the fucking $615K over budget she did for clothing that wasn't even in the budget because we already bought her goddamn clothes. And I watched a very interesting video yesterday. Somebody was critiquing the movie. And again, like I said, I watched it and I had to fast forward the second half. It was so bad. And I was almost thinking, like, would I watch it again as like investigative? I don't really think I could sit through it again, but looking at so I worked at a flower shop for 3 years, and granted it was not a like top tier super expensive one. However, I have to sneeze. So, let me just pull myself back up for a minute. Just so I could talk and not be tiny in the corner. So, I worked at a flower shop for 3 years and I loved it in some ways. I really didn't in other ways because there was a lot of you get crap all over you. Flowers have a lot of things, like lilies have those yellow stamens that can get on your clothes and it stains. Roses have thorns all over and you've got to trim the thorns off. You need to have thick gloves on. There's buckets of water, or we use bleach to clean out the buckets. There's so many things happening. There's soil when you deal with the potted plants. It's really not glamorous. There's a lot that goes into it and you get messy sometimes and you're on your feet a lot and it's just so looking at the outfits that they wore, like there was this clip, just a brief clip, and it's like if I walked into a flower shop and the people in the flower shop were dressed in $1,000 shoes, $1,000 shirts, I would like think that only the top expensive tier kind of customers would shop there, because it doesn't make sense. Like, and for that to be the beginner shop, and like flowers are extremely delicate and they die very quickly, and if you don't have them in the right temperature,
They can overbloom.
they can get bruised, they can get wilted. There's so many things that go into flower arranging and being a florist, and you need the refrigerators, and it's like that flower shop looked like a teen fanfic fantasy of a flower shop, not at all realistic. And it just makes me sad, because I wish we could have seen, like, at this point I can't stand Colleen Hoover. Like, I have no desire. I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, Justin, I want to see Justin's take," or Justin should remake this movie with a whole new cat. No, he should stay far fuck away from Colleen Hoover, except for when he's writing his film about this experience, and how writing this movie almost destroyed his entire fucking career, his whole life, because it was so problematic. And the author got in cahoots with the star, the romantic lead lady, and they basically sabotaged the film. Like, she sabotaged her own film by allowing Blake to turn it into exactly what she claimed in her email to Justin. She didn't want it to be some, romanticized rom-com. And that's exactly what they turned it into, against Justin's better judgment. That he was being bullied the fuck out. He was being fucking bullied the fuck out by Blake. And Colleen Hoover in cahoots, letting it happen, wanting it to happen, allowing it to happen. Is it better with this on? I keep looking at that thinking it should be on, because it looks cuter. And it's just so, like, seeing that flower shop was just like, what the fuck? This is not this. No, even the fancy flower shops don't look like that. I mean, anyway, that's just a rant. Like, my personal experience as a florist and working at a flower shop, and I too am obsessed with florals, and I have a lot of things with flowers on them. My freaking notebooks have flowers all over them. Anything I can has flowers on it. Like, everything that I have is florals, florals, florals. Wear your florals. Like, let's not allow Blake Lively. Get the florals on my sheet here that I have on my heated blanket on my calendar. Oh no, actually I got beaches. Okay, last year it was florals. But so my point is, like, I love florals. Look, I've got my stickers all over my speaker. Florals, florals, florals. I've got my sugar dish. Floral, floral, floral. I've got my pen. Florals. Can't stop, won't stop, don't stop. I've got this, my little change holder. I've got this one. Safety pins. So anyway, what's the point? Oh, I'm obsessed with florals as well. However, it is offensive to ignore the fucking point of the movie, to hijack it. I've also experienced DV and SH and SA and all kinds of trauma and stuff. And so, that also made it very frustrating to watch a movie that was so gross. Oh, and the other thing that the lady said, the other thing that the woman who was doing that video said about it, which I agreed with so much, was that Justin was not realistic as an abuser. Justin came off way too loving, way too kind. Justin came off as so sympathetic. And that even so, the way I saw the movie was that because they made it seem like all of these so-called abuse incidents were accidental, and like I did complain about this, I think in the video I did that was the movie review, 0 stars, bad movie, bad book. Maybe if they had shown the abuse the first time, if they had shown it from like 2 or 3 or 4 different angles, so it was like from one angle you saw the truth, from another angle you saw a romanticized version, and you saw a couple of angles like that where you were like, wait, what? Different lighting, different energy, make one more dreamy where it's like, was it an accident? Make another one more harsh and cold and more like abrupt. And then the viewer could, from the moment it's happening, be like, oh, fuck. She's in a like he's abusing her and she's lying to herself. But they didn't do that. She didn't do that. The way she took it over and edited it, I don't know what they filmed. I don't know if that was in there. I don't know what his plan had been. But I do know that what I saw was a movie where the man, Ryle, Justin, was loving and kind. And actually the scene where the frittata scene where he got burned and he pulled his hand back and accidentally elbowed her and she fell down, and when he was like immediately like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." She pushed him and he fell into the broken ceramic or whatever and he got cut. So in that scene, she was the abuser who had just abused a man who got hurt and he hit her by accident. That's what they showed. And then they showed him being immediately so apologetic, dismissing his own wound, even though he had surgery and all he cared about was her. So I saw a bitch who hurt a man. Then, when he so-called pushed her down the stairs scene, it looked like a total accident. And so by the time she's realized, the way I saw the movie, by the time she was realizing that he was abusing her, we as the viewer were realizing, you're cheating. You are a lying, two-faced cheater. You got Atlas over here. You're hung up on Atlas and you're lying to your husband, and you're twisting these innocent accidents into abuse to make an excuse so you can leave him to go be with the guy that you from high school that you're still hung up on. That's how I saw it. Like, this is not, and then at the end when Ryle, when she was like, I want a divorce, and how kind he was, so kind and so sweet and so gentle, and he came over and he put together the crib, and at the hospital he was so loving, and then it's like, okay, I'll just walk away and it's all good, as a non-abuser would. As a man who knows this bitch is crazy, she's been fucking abusing me, she cheated on me, now she's leaving me, we just had a baby. That's the way the movie played out, with her edit, her terrible acting, the fact that like her character had money. So she was, her character, like, that was another thing that the woman who did the critique on the movie said. The fact that she wasn't a 23-year-old who was a very, very young adult. I have a 23-year-old niece. My niece is very mature in some ways, but she's still such a baby. She's a grown ass baby, okay? But that stage that she's in her life is very, very different than how she will be 15 years from now. When she's 37, she's going to have had almost double her lifespan of experience, knowledge, and all of that stuff. So the point was the things that Lily, the character, goes through in the book as a 23-year-old just feel very different when you put those behaviors on a 37-year-old. Just comes off as a lot less believable, a lot more immature. And then you add it to she's wealthy. She was like so crass. She was laughing at the rooftop scene when he said he was a neurosurgeon. Like, how is that even funny? And then she's like, "Oh, I thought you were a crypto brow." Like, what? And then she even said, which was one of the first things that turned me off as I'm watching the movie. She's like, "Oh, well, I had sex with a homeless guy in high school." I'm like, what? And then it turns out that that was her first love guy. Like, wait, how? Oh, I did get off on a little tangent. This is interesting to me, though, because I'm talking about how Blake Lively destroyed this fucking movie, okay? The lady said, I'm going to have to find it so that I can show you because it's a very good video and it should be watched in full. She had so many amazing things that she said, but what she said about Isabella and the young, I don't know his name, the one who played the young Atlas, was that their scenes felt like scenes from a good movie that were like snuck in there. Like some other totally other different movie that it was good. It was a good drama and they just like took these little slices and like snuck them in to this other totally shallow, glossy, over the top, all about aesthetics and totally forgot about the content and the context of why we're here. She talked about how, and I've seen a few people talk about overall, like the clothing never changed, her outfits never changed. There was no character arc, there was no differentiation between, this stage of her life versus that one and that one and that one. There was no lighting differences. She said the only scene was after Ryle allegedly, after he attempted to grape her and she went to she goes to Atlas and they go to the hospital. That was the only scene that was like kind of bluish. Everything else was this like overly warm, like basically everything about this movie. It seems like everything that Blake changed was what made the movie shit. And again, I don't know if Justin just had really bad judgment. As I've said in other videos in the very beginning of this, like, did he just have terrible judgment in even picking this book to start with? Like, the source material seems off. However, he read it, he felt something, he thought it was a cool, great story, and it sounds like Blake and Colleen spun it into something completely, and Ryan Reynolds took it over and turned it into something that it was not at all what he had intended. And he tried to get it back on track, and she defamed him. She lied about him. She said all these terrible things. So let me get back to the damn document that I was here for in the first place. Right? And then all this stuff was happening, and he had to hire this PR team to try to save his fucking life. Okay? While JB and JH attempted to foster a kind and safe creative environment on set during a challenging period in Hollywood, resurgence of COVID-19, the writer's strike, the SAG-AFTRA strike, their efforts were continuously thrown back in their faces. Production members lost their jobs due to Blake Lively's takeover and insisted upon involvement, which she's literally using this in her amended complaint where she says they were more than happy to exploit my fucking star power and my fucking elite connections until I lied. And that's not even true. They weren't happy about it. You were bullying them. You were intimidating them. They felt like they had no choice. And all these people lost their jobs. Okay, including loss of budget due to rescheduling shoots days when Blake Lively refused to show up. Like when she was supposed to do those scenes and she just, oh my God, I'm horrified. I'm mortified by the timing. No, you're not. It's exactly what you fucking wanted. When Blake Lively wasn't able to get her way on set or behind the scenes, she involved her husband to create an imbalance of power between her and Justin Baldoni. Ryan Reynolds went so far as to use his power to call agents and agencies Sony and other key players so that Blake Lively would get her way. Blake Lively's less than favorable reputation in the industry spans decades. And why the fuck didn't you pay attention to that, Justin? You admitted that you knew she had a bad reputation, but you thought she was cool. You know that narcissists can love bomb you and seem real fucking cool. At first. And you don't know until you fucking know. Now you know. Ryan Reynolds, okay. Blake Lively's less than favorable reputation in the industry spans decades and has been reported. There were issues on Gossip Girl, The Town. So Gossip Girl was Leighton Meester and Penn Badgley that she caused issues with from her own terrible personality. The Town was Ben Affleck, A Simple Favor with Anna Kendrick, and more. There is a clear, likely motive due to the film's value and fan base in which Blake Lively is attempting to bully her way into buying the rights for It Starts With Us. Our team will also include additional positive stats regarding Justin Baldoni's career, his accolades, his inspiration to take on this project, obstacles he overcame, what's in store, etc. If then plan of action. Scenario 1. Blake and team push out negative story regarding Justin and Wayfarer post-premiere. Depending on the scope of her push, we recommend planting a seed earlier. We recommend planting a seed earlier on to position your truth narrative around the ordeal in a subtle way to avoid having to backtrack. Although he said a lot of positive things about her. Despite all the issues, he still had positive things to say. Any idea for this and working alongside Jen is giving a friendly reporter who is covering the film a simple line hinting that while you and Blake didn't always agree at times, quote, we had our differences, end quote, you have respect for her. This way, if Blake Lively's stories are softer, we don't look so aggressive. If it's a hit piece, then we've teed up reporters properly that there were issues with her. We would also ensure the story is broader about the film, inspiration, etc., so that the line is one part of a larger piece. And again, what did it say? If it's a hit piece. So, this is the video. The Real Problem with It Ends With Us by Nika. Oh, I didn't subscribe. I have to subscribe. Okay. So this was the video. It was really, really good. She broke it down in so many good ways. The colors, the mood, all the stuff. How Ryle was not at all. It wasn't believable that he was the abuser. It just wasn't. He was too kind. Like, he just came across as too kind. This was the other lady. This was the lady, Lethal Lauren, who was reading to like 4 o'clock in the morning, reading when Blake dropped the amended complaint. And that was very cool. So I followed her. Let me make sure I do that. And then also I'll hit the bell on her page. Okay, they are very cool. And then a hit piece is an article, a documentary, etc., that deliberately tries to make somebody look bad, somebody or something look bad by presenting information about them that appears to be true and accurate, but actually is not. This was a standard attempt at a hit piece by a lazy, biased journalist. So, again, like they said up here, if false narratives begin in the digital space, and over here, talking about if it's a hit piece. Again, the words that they are using are understandable and clear and definable, which make it obvious that they are talking about if Blake lies about Justin. They're not saying, let's cover up what he did. Let's hide these texts. Let's delete these videos. Let's get these people to lie. No, they're saying if she lies, this is what we're going to do to protect ourselves from her lies. Smear campaign. Let's continue. If it's a hit piece, then we've teed up reporters. Okay. If her team is working on a longer lead, negative narrative, we would be given a short heads up in advance of the story and would, alongside Jen, correct inaccuracies in fact checking, mitigate false narratives, and point reporters toward third party advocates who can speak positively on your behalf. Again, let's correct the lies. Let's fact check. Let's mitigate false narratives. So this bitch had an amended complaint saying this is such an own goal, like you said yourself, biatch. We would then, just like the Amber Turd of it all, when Amber Turd had the Amber Turd comment and like, actually, you put that on evidence. You put hashtag justice for Johnny, hashtag Amber Turd as evidence, girl. Like, why? And that is this level. Blake Lively had shared a tweet about somebody saying, why don't you make your own fucking movie? You can't because you're not talented. Why would you own gold? Why are you doing that? You are your own smear campaign. You are the smear. You are literally a shit stain smearing out everywhere you go. Everything you say, everything you touch, everything you do, everything you work on is smeared with the shit campaign of your terrible personality, your evilness. And that's the smear. You can't get it off because it's you. Allegedly, speculation only in my opinion. We would then brief people with a more robust version of the facts. Robust facts. Executing a background approach using third-party advocates and off-record conversations with trusted friendlies to depict the truth. Of the situation. Targets would include popular industry newsletters targeting industry peers, studio execs, investors, etc., and a social media targeting Justin's fan base and those of the novel, film, as well as trades. Mainstream entertainment background information would include. I have to wrap this up. I'm getting past that 1 hour mark and my computer's gonna. Okay, let's see. So where do we go? Oh god. Oh my god. Background briefing would clarify any misconceptions, what was taken out of context, and what can be chalked up to simple misunderstanding or miscommunication. I believe this is the crux of everything right here.
Background briefing would clarify any misconceptions, what was taken out of context, and what can be chalked up to simple misunderstanding or miscommunication.
Let's be honest, these were not misconceptions or misunderstandings. This was intentional torts. Background briefing would highlight JB, JH, and Wayfarer's side of the story, what their truth is as it pertains to any allegations or negativity, facts based on the timeline, and issues they've experienced on their end, e.g., lost days of shooting, consistently adhering to demands, etc. We bent over backwards for you, bitch, and it wasn't enough. You still had to lie. Background briefing would include the fact that the production members lost their jobs due to her involvement. Takeover. Background briefing would include the numerous articles, interviews, and quotes of past colleagues who openly love working with Justin, and pointing to Blake Lively's less than favorable reputation of her 20-year career. Background briefing would include pointing people to positive commentary, quotes, interviews from colleagues and peers of Justin praising his work, etc. Scenario 2, Blake subtly hints at her experience. In post-premiere coverage, either in an interview, op-ed, or otherwise. Yeah, that's exactly what she fucking did. Our prediction is that should Blake address her experience on set, her experience in quotes, because they're like, this is not really what she experienced, it's just her lies, her version. On set in upcoming press, she will not name you directly, but rather pepper in Easter eggs, alluding to your involvement, being mindful not to completely jeopardize her potential involvement in the film's sequel, while still planting seeds of doubt and speculation, especially among the passionate fan base. BL and her team have already begun to plant seeds around this, in insisting promotion be kept separate. Fans have already begun to speculate on socials that something is amiss, as of course they would, because that is so unusual, what she was forcing them to do. These pieces will likely come out following any potential hit piece and or coverage from the premiere. Yeah, the hit piece in the New York Times. Our recommended approach would be to provide reporters who reach out for comment. Should it be obvious she's referring to you with the appropriate background information listed in scenario 1 to ensure their stories are balanced and the speculation can be turned to another one of the many people she's had issues with working with: Leighton Meester, Anna Kendrick, Ben Affleck, etc. Let's just take a moment. So Adam Brody is married to Leighton Meester. I bet Blake was jealous of her. Then Ben Affleck is casually dating after him and Jennifer Lopez have divorced. So I just wanted to look at some pictures of them. So this is a shot from the town. Blake being over the top as per usual. Then look, she's showing Jeremy Renner. Look, Jeremy, look at my nails. Aren't they so cool? Then somehow Ben. Oh, Ben, you must look at them too, you know. I'm so important. Look at my nails. I'm sure he really cared about that. Here's a picture of them. Blake claims she had no idea he was friends with Matt Damon when they first met. Here's Anna Kendrick. Hopefully Anna Kendrick's she's probably gonna do better in a way. I think this is fucking hilarious how they put the picture totally cutting off Blake's face. Appropriate. Occasionally, we would advise taking further ownership of this narrative as an emerging director. Lessons learned, managing different egos that are big as a motherfucking planet, galaxy, being the subject of an imbalance of power and or navigating Hollywood, remaining dedicated throughout more challenging processes to protect the crew and production members, etc. Like when the fucking so-called star of the movie has her husband write a scene during a writer's strike and lies and says she wrote it so she can I don't know, so fucking weird. Why did she even do that? Remaining strong but not specific or combative. This messaging can be woven into more positive press about the film, placed by Jen and team, so that you stay on the high road while sharing your truth in a respectful way. A subtle way to do this is to address some of the issues you faced on your podcast and open the door to discuss ways in which imbalances of Hollywood still need to be addressed. How teams can create safe environments for all cast and production members on set. Scenario 3, Ryan comes forward in defense of his wife. Should Ryan come forward in defense of his wife, or rather, instead of coming forward in defense of her, he went on SNL and joked in her face about her. We would advise against any direct engagement statement, etc. Inquiring reporters and those in need of updating would be given a pre-approved line of background attributed to source, implying his lack of connection or involvement with the making of the film, and that this is another imbalance of power and attempting to strong-arm production by A-list stars in their fucking dreams. Now they're Z-list stars, as Perez Hilton said. Our team would also suggest, and will work with Jenny Bell and her team on this, placing proactive interviews for Justin around the movie's debut to speak to his experiences directing, what it's like to produce, direct, and star in a movie, the difference between being in charge and being one of the cast, lessons learned from his experience as a director on this film and others, and what's to come in the It Ends With Us universe. Lawsuits up the fucking wazoo. Who? This will get ahead of any potential negative news placed by Blake Lively and or her team, and see doubt should Blake Lively or Ryan Reynolds come forward with negative messaging, like the scum that they are. As part of this, our team can also explore planting stories about the weaponization of feminism and how people in Blake Lively's circle, like Taylor Swift, have been accused of utilizing these tactics to bully into getting what they want. And haven't they? So they didn't say anything about whether or not Taylor Swift actually bullied that guy, got rid of that composer to have her music. That was another thing that Nina lady pointed out, was that I have to do more research, but I read a thread on Instagram that Justin actually was seeking out unknown new artists for the movie. The music. She said the music was so out of place in the movie, and it felt like this heavy movie. The heavy movie and themes that were not backed up by the acting. They tried to compensate with the music. Like, basically, since the acting was so bad, it seemed like the music was trying to make the mood that the acting, Blake's acting, didn't. So yeah, when I was listening to listening to Davis, AI voice Davis, read that to me, I was sitting there listening to it like, I know you fucking lying. This is supposed to prove that he smeared you. This is proving that he was trying to save himself from your smear, from your lies, from your hit piece, from your well-established career of being a hater. Anyway, that's it for this video. Don't forget, 90% of you guys who are watching my videos regularly have not hit the subscribe. If you hit the subscribe, it would mean the world to me. It would help my channel grow. Then I could get more algorithm alging. So don't forget, join me on Patreon as well. You can be a member on my website, catlovedreamingpeach.com, or you can be a member on YouTube, or you can just subscribe for free. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Fucking crook. I don't know. catlovedreamingpeach.com